with that, Garen, all right, so let's go to the second thing. Okay. All right. So talked about impact of transition on self. Let's talk about the transition, the impact of transition on those around us, family. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, we've had some discussions around this, man, having those tough conversations with family members, right? Specifically your significant other, your spouse, your children, because we've included ours in on these conversations, right? They're 10 and 13. Yeah. Or 11 and 13. And we want them to be a part of what's happening. I want them to witness it in real time because they too, we know this, James, we know that they too will go through their periods of transition and pivots. And I want them to have some reps.
Yep.
What is it like, man? What is it like as a family member to go through this? Last night, James, I'm in the kitchen and my daughter comes home with my wife and my oldest, and she says, "Hey, daddy, close your eyes. Close your eyes." I'm like, okay, close my eyes. And she's just like, "I want you to envision you've been called over to Dubai to speak. And you're only going to speak for an hour, daddy. And you know, how much did you get paid, daddy? How much did you get paid?" I'm like, I don't know. She's like, "Pick a number." I'm like, okay, I gave her a number. She's just like, "Excellent. Okay, daddy, keep your eyes closed. And let's just say you flew back on your private jet." And she's going through this whole thing. And I'm thinking that there's going to be like an end where she says something like, just something odd. But she takes me through this entire process, brother. And then she ends and she just walks to her room. And I'm standing there with my eyes closed. I open them up. She's gone. What is my 13-year-old daughter doing, taking me through a visualization experiment?
So there was a time a couple years ago, I think I shared with you, when we were still living in Kansas City. And we had been talking for over a year about, hey, would we move back? And Chris and I said, nah, not this year, next year. All right, put the kids back in school. Everybody's doing well. And then that following summer, right, like 2 days after school got out, both of the girls came in to the room, and they sat down on the bed. They looked at us. And they said, "Mom, Dad, it's time. Time for what? It's time for us to go." And they left.
How old?
They would have been, let's see, this was 7 and 3. 7 and 3.
It's crazy.
And they said, "Let's go." And when they walked out the room, I looked at Chris, like, did you hear something different in their voice? She's like, "Yeah, did you pick that up too?" I said, there was a bass. There was the bass in the voice of two young girls that I knew wasn't them. Literally, that was the moment, and that's all it took for us to pack up and move.
We're talking about still small voices.
In my kids, I heard, they said the words, but I heard something behind, undergirding, supporting those words as they came out that said, "It's time." And that was it.
Packed up.
So as I hear you tell that story, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, the reason moving was the best thing we could have done for them, for Chris and I, for what I'm going through now.
Sure, that's right.
Not being here.
That's right.
Oh, man, it would have been, and or having to make such a big step in the middle of a transition.
Yeah.
Would have added stress. It would have added a layer of complexity that was not intended. So in that moment, my kids set me straight and I listened. They were a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
So as I hear you say what you're saying, that's what it brought back to me, man.
Chills, man. Yeah.
It brought it back to me because at the end of the day, man, these moments, this is the whispering. The whispering can come through things that we never expect. The whispering can be embedded in the wind, embedded in our children, embedded in some stranger we meet on the street. It doesn't have to be this overly dramatic moment. It can just be something. And if we're paying attention.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're paying attention, man.
So for the person who might say, well, how do I pay attention? How do I pay attention? How do I cue up myself that I can actually hear that and witness? Like, you heard the undergirding of the bass in their voice, right? My daughter took me through that. I'm closing my eyes and she left me, right? Like, how can someone not overlook that and just, the kids are just talking. Oh, I'm not playing this game with you, Madison, you know?
So it'll go back to our first point. Everything she said, do you believe you deserve?
I'll say this. She was so good at taking me through the process. And I'm so glad that I was willing to go through the process without questioning her. Because I'm telling you, man, she just walked in the door from the garage and then just started talking. That I saw myself there. The one thing that she mentioned that I wasn't on board for was, she says, and Daddy, maybe we can move to a different home, because she says it's 2026, Daddy, and these things are happening. James, we're in the last quarter of 2025, brother. And you and I spoke just recently, and we talked about how we absolutely believe that God can make things change just like that.
In an instant.
Right? But even as she was saying all these different things that we will have, I was like, baby, like, no, hold tight. This time around, we're gonna do things differently, right? Right. So it's not gonna be about getting things, but it's gonna make sure that we are grounded, right, in all that we just went through back through 2025. Right? Are we grounded in those things so that when things change in our purview, like, I know who I am.
Yep. So where we are with this, man, is bringing the family in.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you have a story there, but bringing the family in, the impact of the family. We've both had experiences where the impact of the family has actually been a positive effect to us. Meaning that's more spiritual ground for God to work with, for the universe to help direct, for momentum to be created, for solutions to be created. We're now expanding the miracle making possibilities because we've now invited more people in. Look, dude, one of the things that's happening, very proud of my wife, but she, for the first 14 years now, right? So this whole time, she's been in career, she's done okay. But she's never really had a passion to grow, right? And I've always joked with her, like, look, there's gonna come a day when I'm ready to sit down and you could take the lead. I'll be a great stay-at-home dad. I can wash dishes, cook, I can do all that. And I would just love to see you grow. And it has been in the past year since my season has changed that I saw my wife, and again, purposefully, like, bringing her in, from the first day, hey, sweetheart, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do. It's what I can feel compelled to do. No doubt, no questioning, just action.
She just jumped in.
And I've watched her develop skills. I've watched her gain confidence. I watched her just grow.
Yeah.
And now it's led her to the point where she's back in school, finishing, starting her master's, going to get that closed out. She's starting to advance on her job and being, told, hey, you're in the succession plan for this role and that role and that role. And I'm like, see, by making it all about me in the good days and the bad days, I've limited the miracle making power. By me extending that now to a broader audience, I've now made whatever solution can be developed more possible because I have more lottery tickets now. I didn't just buy one number, I have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And my odds my odds of a solution, whether it's just a vision
Yeah.
through a child.
Yeah.
Had you never brought them in, would she have the vision?
That's I just had a moment there, man. Listen, I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I did. And this is, that I spoke more to my, strangely enough, I spoke more to my kids about this transition than I did to my wife up front, because I wanted, and you've heard me say this before, like, when is the Superman cape going to come on? Like, Garen, man, you're going through this transition, this pivot. Like, when are you going to put on that cape and just do that thing that you've always done? This is something new. And it has really, I don't want to say broken me down, because I've actually become stronger through this process, right? But it has made me aware that we're all in this together. And this is the reason behind family and community. Like, we're all in this together. And we as men don't have to carry this weight alone. Because, man, look at how beautiful the children spoke, and your wife stepped up, and like, there's other people in your mother also, man, like her role, how she's been changing, right? Through your journey. Like, all of these, like, this is a whole family affair. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we don't include our family on these journeys.
Totally agree with you, man. So the impact on us is the growth in whatever is truly at our foundation. Spirituality, it could be other things. For some dude, it's perversions, man, things they've dealt with, things that take them down darker paths, right?
Yeah.
And we all have some of that to deal with, and that is a journey on of its own. But when we then include the family, man, now we have expanded the ability for solutions to be created, for ideas to be manifest, for visions to be manifest. We've now opened that up to a broader audience, and the power in that.
Yeah.
Right? Even if that vision only showed you a possibility, the fact that in that moment you recognized it, it's almost like an angel. She came and she was gone. She gave you something and she was gone. Right? Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff that will keep on keeping on. So let's move on to this next conversation, which is really the brass tacks of what does giving up to gain look like? Transitions require that we cannot bring everything from our old existence with us. So talk a little bit about giving up to gain.
There's so much there, so much meat on that bone. Sometimes I realize that we're given a choice to give up something, to surrender something. And then other times things are just taken from you. And you can fight, claw, and try to pull the past to the future or to your present. But at some point when you realize, like, there's zero gain, like, I got to give it up. I got to give it up. I've had many times at night, James, when I am thinking about some of the challenges that we're going through, and I would find myself sticking my hand up from underneath the covers and just like, God, okay, all right, the truck, the car, the house, my socks, like, just take it all, God. The bicycle, everything. I'm going down the whole list, man. I'm calling your name. I'm calling other friends' name. And just like, God, I surrender them to you. Like, just because, man, I'm trying everything to hold on to the past and zero-sum gain. And I feel like he's just there looking at me like, finally, son, now you're getting it, right? Because we tend to think that our future should be like our past, especially if it's beautiful, right? If we feel it's beautiful, and not recognizing that God has work for us to do, like more work for us to do, Absolutely. More exciting work, more expanded work. He's talking about multiplication, man. He talks in Genesis, he talks about, be fruitful and multiply. God doesn't work in addition. He works in multiplication, man.
Absolutely.
So if we would get that, and I think that comes, James, from, again, the time that we spend studying and speaking to and just connecting with him, being aligned with him, we'll understand that there are all these promises, all these formulas, right? If then statements in the Bible that, like, if we would just do this, he's like, man, I'll give you so much more. And for me, there is a belief. And again, even if all of the things that I'm thinking about don't happen here on earth, there's still a belief that keeps me moving forward. There's a hope
Yeah.
that keeps me moving forward.